Leeds news. Players return for pre-season, but what's the situation? Exits start now. New sponsor and training kit revealed. Leeds sign McDonald. Leeds agree deal for Aberdeen Wonderkid. Slovenian striker linked. Radrazani plans a Leeds United raid. And Carl Darlow linked with Leeds move. Hey folks, Jer here on the 3rd of July at The View with your Leeds United news. And a bit of stuff floating around the weekend. Things look like they're starting to move in the backgrounds. I've been saying to some people on Twitter today, I just wouldn't be worried about this announcement about a manager. I'm pretty sure he's already in place and they're just waiting for bits and pieces to fall. Also, it's important to point out that even though the players are back for pre-season training today, manager's not needed. They're only going through testing and measurements and their illness tests, so COVID tests and all that kind of stuff. Blood work is getting done today, so there's no need for manager. They won't be on the grass today. There'll be no training done today. It's just purely tests that are being done. So body fat percentages, where they were from when they finished the season versus where they are now. So yeah, not a huge amount. So as I said, the players are back in pre-season. What's the situation so far? Well, they're all back at Leeds Beckett University today, and they will be going through a full day of what is referred to as physical testing and assessments that will be done across all aspects of the players. The international players are not expected back until next week, and you can extend that again for the under 21 players like Chris Somerville, Hjelde, Klassen, and Uli Nonto, as well as Charlie Cresswell, who are all involved in the European under 21 tournament. England are still in that tournament. The final isn't due to take place until the 8th of this month. So should England get there, Charlie Cresswell will not be back in Leeds pre-season training for a couple of weeks at least just yet. So with that situation, what's the story with the manager? And well, there's still no appointment or announcement of an appointment from Leeds around Daniel Farke, but Daniel Farke is expected to be the Leeds head coach going into this season, is expected to take most of the pre-season training, and there's talk about between today and Wednesday that something will be finalised, that the EFL stuff looks like it's nearly done. But apparently Radrazani has been blamed on the delay, not the EFL. Let's say that the takeover between the 49ers and the Sampdoria situation has actually caused a bit of a delay. So on the manager situation, it's said that Leeds could appoint the manager and they could announce somebody right now, but if it's not ratified, and they would rather do the whole lot together. As far as the 49ers are concerned, around announcing until the takeover comes to be finalised, they don't own the club. They're still a minority shareholder, and the way the Leeds ownership model works, Radrazani is the decision-making power of the ownership of Leeds. The 49ers do not have decision-making powers. Now, there will be some leeway on that at the moment with his focus on Sampdoria while they're trying to get Leeds United sorted, but it is stated that Radrazani would have to give permission for Leeds to appoint a new head coach before the takeover is ratified. So once it's ratified, it's just easier for the 49ers to get everything done. So I'm not worried about it, not even slightly. And I've decided that last season is last season, and I'm parking the negativity from last year and I'm moving forward. So you will see pictures of Liam Cooper and Luke Ayling. Please refrain from telling them to get out of the club in the comment section, because I'm going to put them up. It's a new season, and they have an awful habit of proving people wrong when people think the worst of them. So you will see them. So we can move on with that. But I'm not going into negative stuff this year. I'm going to start off positive. I'm going to hope for positive things. I'm going to plan for positive things. I'll be called a happy clapper. I'm okay with that. So let's talk about exits then, and we'll move in, and we're going to fly through this because there's not a huge amount to talk, but we'll give you some definitive information on what's coming out. Diego Llorente is expected to finalise his move to Roma on a 1-year loan deal with an option to buy. That option is rumoured to be anything between 3.5 million and 8 million for the player, which is unfortunate. Leeds won't get any more than 10 million for him, but we don't want him here. Fans don't want him here. So if he does go, he's gone. That's the main thing. Rasmus Christensen's deal seems to have been paused at the moment. There's a failure. Leeds want an obligation to buy Christensen in the contract, and Roma don't want that in the deal. So that looks like it's on hold for now. Robin Koch, after all the talk of Manchester United and Newcastle and all these clubs, Robin Koch looks close to finalising a move on loan to Frankfurt. Eintracht Frankfurt are keen on the player, and it looks like a return to Germany is where Robin Koch will go. Brendan Aaronson also looking at a move to Germany as well, with Union Berlin a likely destination for him. It's claimed that he's close to finalising a loan move there as well. What I will say about these players that are going out on loan, some of these players that do go out on loan, so if it's the likes of Nanto or the likes of Somerville or the likes of Tyler Adams, the idea is that you loan them out for a year and you get them back and they can be part of the squad for the Premier League season. You don't have to go and buy players of that calibre again. The likes of Robin Koch, Diego Llorente and Brendan Aaronson, especially Aaronson, coming back into the dressing room next season if Leeds do get promoted and maybe being part of the squad, that to me could cause a rift down the middle of the dressing room of players that have stayed and grafted to get Leeds back into the Premier League and those who left and came back. So it's a strange one for me with some of them. I understand some of the loans, but some of them A little bit trickier to understand. Let's move on to the next one. We'll talk about the new sponsors and training kits. So Unibet have been announced as Leeds' new training partner on the back of Boxed being announced as the new shirt sponsor for the kits. You don't forget, Unibet were Leeds United's training partner when Leeds got promoted to the Premier League 3-4 years ago now. And they will be the full training partner, replacing Astonish as the 23-24 training kit sponsor. Some lovely kits. There's a lot of people giving out about a green one. I'm Irish. I'm never going to give out about green kits. And the amount of Irish players that have played for Leeds over the years. And let's be honest, some big players have played for Leeds who are Irish. I'm delighted to see a Leeds green kit. What I will say, our green training gear. What I will say though is the blue looks really, really nice. Georgina Rudder here on the modelling the t-shirt. We've got Sam Greenwood as well as Liam Cooper and Luke Ayling sporting the gear. It looks nice. It looks actually better with the sponsor stuff on it than it does without the sponsor stuff. As usual, there are people saying that you can buy it on Adidas's website without any branding at all for a couple of quid cheaper, but that's your choice to make. But I like it, and it's nice to actually see the players back smiling and in the gear. Yes, it's Liam Cooper, unless it's Luke Ayling, but they could have great seasons. We don't know, so I'm not going to knock anybody at this point of the year. Start of a new season, as I said. Looks good. Let's move on. Let's talk about signings, and Leeds have started, but they've started with the underage as well. Now, before we get into this, someone's going to say, why are Leeds signing kids when we should be signing first-team players? There's two recruitment teams. There's a youth development recruitment team who are doing their own thing, and then there's a senior recruitment team who are doing their own thing. Have to sign players for both. So before anyone complains that Leeds aren't signing senior players and they're signing underage players, they have to do both, and they're separate entities and they're doing both. So we'll start with this, and Leeds have agreed a deal with a Hamilton Academical for midfielder Josh McDonald, the 16-year-old Scotland under 16 Scotland international, will join up with the Leeds academy sides moving into next season. Tipped as a very promising midfielder as well. So great to see Leeds continue to bring in promising underage players to keep fueling those the conveyor belt of players into the senior setup. Other players from Scotland as well. Leeds, according to the Daily Record, Leeds have agreed a deal for Aberdeen Wonderkid Louis Perry. Perry scored 51 goals in all competitions last season up in Scotland, including internationals, and was heavily linked with a move to Celtic. Leeds look like they've stolen a step on Celtic and have managed to get this deal done. That is according to the record. I haven't seen anything official come from Leeds just yet, but the LUFC youth will probably put something out about this. Perry would be expected to go into the under-21 side and be on the fringes of the first team as well. He's an exciting player. He's a really exciting striker. So it's great to see that kind of player coming in as well. Yes, it's a young striker, and yes, we've got young strikers, but he's younger than what we've already got. So the likes of Gelhardt and all moving on in the senior setup leaves gaps in the under-21s and under-19s and 18s and all that need to be replaced by new players as well. So it's a good move. It's a sensible move. I like the look of that. And some of these moves have a Hammond look on them all right, and we'll get to that in a minute. Another rumoured player coming into Leeds, and according to Sports Walla and the Yorkshire Evening Post, Leeds are keen on Slovenian striker Jordi Jovanovic. Jovanovic is playing currently at Maccabi Tel Aviv, which is Robbie Keane's new club after his spell at Leeds. The 24-year-old scored 32 goals in 62 appearances last season, which is a goal every other game, which is a really, really good return for a striker. Normally, under normal transfer circumstances, Jovanovic would not have qualified for a work visa in England, and Leeds wouldn't have been able to get this move done due to the UK points-based GBE system. What's happened is now that, as we reported last week, that system has changed, with the Championship and Premier League clubs lobbying the government to give them some leeway at post-Brexit. Clubs can now sign 4 players who don't hit the points total for work visas. Jovanovic would be considered as one of those. A fee of in and around €3.8 million or 3.5 million pounds is the rumoured fee. It's a cheap amount of money for what could be a decent striker at this level. A Slovenian player who have decent calibre as well, and an international as well. So that looks like it's moving. Before we get to the final transfer rumour, we'll talk about potential loan options leaving Leeds, and Radrazani plans to raid Leeds. And according to Il Secolo, they're saying that Radrazani wants to loan a number of players of young age and promising potential for Andrea Pirlo's push for Serie B. And what they're saying is Matteo Joseph, Leo Hjelde, and Diego Monteiro are also planned players for Radrazani to bring in to give to Pirlo. There's been a lot of talk about Leo Hjelde moving abroad on a permanent basis, but a lot of clubs in Italy very interested in the player. This could be one, but it is said at the moment is likely a loan deal. Hjelde's only 19. Mateo Joseph could likely move on loan if Leeds decide to go with Georgina Road or Joe Gallagher or Sam Greenwood push up front, and you still got Bamford in that mix as well. So it depends, and Leeds are expected to bring a striker in as well. So it depends what happens in that situation, but it could see Mateo Joseph move out on loan for a season. Same with Diego Montiero, who's 19. Although Leeds under 21s still need players as they move into Premier League 2 Division 1. They will need players next season as well. So Leeds can't sell all the young players out on loan because they will need to build on the success of last season, this new large one Premier League division if it ever gets signed off. And then finally today we'll talk about the links with a goalkeeper, and according to Sky Sports, Leeds are heavily linked and heavily interested in Newcastle United goalkeeper Carl Darlow. Leeds are expected to have some sort of competition from Bournemouth, who are looking at bringing Darlow in as a backup number 2. Darlow has been at Newcastle for quite a while and is a very, very good goalkeeper at championship level. Has proven that, has a couple of promotions, and Leeds are very interested in, but he's one of a number of goalkeepers that we mentioned a couple of weeks ago that Leeds were interested in. But according to Sky Sports, there's likely to be a permanent move made for the player in the next few days. But it also says that neither side has made a formal approach yet, but that it is expected. And that's pretty much it for now, folks. There's no announcement on our head coach, as I said. As I also said, I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. I'm going to move forward. As far as I'm concerned, the new season starts today. Players are back. Everything that happened before this season, for me, is gone. And we start fresh, new season. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I think there could be some really positive things happen this season. Everyone's getting really upset and worried about announcements. Like, say something. It doesn't bother me. I think it should just be a case of let it happen. It's going to happen. There will be a head coach in place. There will be everything else in place. You can look what's going on at the club. Transfers are now being lined up. Young players are now coming in. Everyone seems to be moving forward. Sponsorships are being lined up and signed. New kits are being released. So as far as I'm concerned, everything is moving at the club and everything's going the right direction. All we're waiting is an announcement. We don't know if the head coach has already been in place, if he's already met the players. We don't know that yet. So as far as I'm concerned, we'll just push forward with this. We'll have a positive outlook on this to start, and we'll see where the players go from here. They'll get a chance at the start of the season to show if the promise is still there, if they're going to move on or leave or stay or whatever happens. But a positive outlook for the beginning of this season and the next couple of weeks. And I'm excited to see what Leeds will do. So it could be a busy week. As I said, the announcement of manager could be expected anytime between now and Wednesday. It could be the end of the week. We've been saying this for weeks now. So it'll happen when it happens. And we'll announce it when it's announced. We won't lose any sleep over this. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Leeds news. So as always, thank you for watching the channel. Thank you for subscribing and tuning in. And I will see you tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Have a great day. See ya. Bye.